Welcome, everybody. Today we are going to do a little bit of a deep dive into the Diablo 2, maybe not deep dive, a dive into the Diablo 2 records, all the different times, characters, and just kind of taking a look at maybe a little bit of the history of it, and seeing what records are new and which ones are kind of being competed against. What's the past of competed? That seems right. So let's go ahead and jump into it. And what runs are long to stand. Good English today. Doing really well. So we'll start off in the classic any percent normal runs, and we'll start right on the softcore Sorceress. This right here, 1:12:39, is the fastest run in the history of runs. Of Diablo 2. This is the fastest that we have gotten a run. That's not one of these like Players X runs, which I probably won't talk too much on Players X stuff. But this is the fastest run. 6 months ago, it was gotten by Slimo. Previous to that, he had a run that was basically the same exact time. I think that was probably there for a year. So this is probably about a year and a half in the making. Don't say classic. Sorry. I want to say classic. These are all expansion. Obviously, right there, I am in second with the 1:14:24. This is a run I do think I can beat. I think there is still that 109, 110 run out there. And I have gone after it in the past, but obviously it doesn't always work out, right? So this is one I'll continue to compete for, though. And I believe I will overtake Slimo's run here. I think 107, 108 is probably the fastest that this run will get, in my opinion. I think this is the fastest this run would get is like 107, 108 if you get that like theoretically crazy run. So basically you start out, you get your Talith rune right at the start. Like literally you get experience shrine, get to the tower, get Talith on the first run, and you come out of the tower at level like 8.5 at like 11 minutes. And then you just bolt straight through. Great maps. Get to the far oasis. I mean, obviously, you kill Andy by like 21 minutes, 22 minutes. Get to the far oasis by like 27, 28. And then farm there until like 43 minutes probably to get to 18. Teleport around. You get a double boss and a great far oasis with your Beetle Burst, right? Beetle Burst strats. Teleport around and do everything, and I think you can kill Duriel sub 50, and then you can get that 109 or 108, 107, right? I think that's out there, but that's a very hard run, and that requires so many lucky pieces. So you really have to, and you have to take a lot of chances on that too, right? Like, oh, am I going to throw away this amazing early start for a chance at Beetle Burst not even being there? It's tough. Third here is Teo with the 117, and I believe that is the only other person that is sub 120. Let me look in the hardcore as well. Yeah, so that is the only other person that is sub 120. This right here I think really goes to show the difficulty. Thank you, Bao. This right here I think really goes to show the difficulty of Diablo 2 speedrunning. And kind of I almost want to say like tiers or whatever of the different runs and stuff that you can see, right? Like the fourth place time is 9 minutes almost away from the first place time. The second place time is still 2 minutes off, a little under. You know, this is 5 minutes off.
Hello, Mr. Handsome.
Wicked. But then after that, like there's a few in the 121s. Then we've got some 127, 128s. Then we've got the 130s. Like these are still respectable times to be in the 135s and stuff. Still very respectable. Getting sub 2 hours is still pretty difficult and respected in my opinion. So it's very, there's a lot of difficulty, and you'll see a lot of different names in here and stuff. But it just shows like how crazy this character can get. I mean, when I ran 121, I thought that the fastest time ever to be run would be like a 118. Like I was like crazy stoked at that point. And now we have this 112 and it could go faster. Obviously in hardcore, I have hardcore right there. And then Teo's a little bit behind that. I don't like to play hardcore source as much for this. Like, this is one of the characters I don't really like to play a lot, because if I'm on a run that's on a 109 pace and it's a hardcore run and I lose it, I would like cry my eyes out. So I'm going to compare these hardcore and softcore runs pretty similarly together, because a lot of times they're pretty similar. They're just in slightly different categories, right? Paladin. So I thought I was doing all right with that 150 run, and then Teo dropped to 146 on us 1 month ago. Took my record away. Another character where if you can get sub 2, that's pretty dang good, right? This character was one that I'm trying to remember the exact history of how long it took to kind of really go sub 2. I think it was one of the earlier ones. We're trying to get every character sub 2 hours, except the Barbarian might never get there unless you get like all these amazing crush and blow items and stuff. But there's a lot of ridiculousness with this, and I think there's still room to be saved in this run, because this run started with the addition where we really started to add in some complexity or difficulty or additional ways to lower the run. Was when we started doing the cube recipe: 3 chipped emerald or 3 chipped gems plus a scepter. And what it does is it rolls an eye level 24, eye level 25, one of the two, maybe 25, random blue scepter for you. And that's whenever you do it. And you can do this with a wand as well, which I'll talk about a little bit in the Necro, or I can talk about it right now. We also started doing that in the Necros. But basically, it gives you that chance to get +3 to Blessed Hammer, plus to Concentration, plus to Blessed Hammer, like those sorts of things, which really help. The Hammerden is so crucial because he does so little damage early on. Like level 18, his damage is garbage. But if you have something that's like +3 to Blessed Hammer, +2 to Blessed Hammer, his damage just magnifies. It's so crazy how much more damage you get out of a couple skill points. And since you're only level 20 or 21, right at the end of the run, but you're like level 18, 19, 20, 21, having a couple more skill points at that point is huge. And so you get these crazy like jumps in damage, and that really increases your time. So between that and then of course charging using swap casting, it puts you in a really, really like good spot where you can lower this down. So I'd actually be curious to see if this run can get even faster. Additionally, things like Crushing Blow could be helpful for early on while you still are a zealot. Maybe that's something. But this run has, you want to get the steel and things like that. And that's kind of the annoying part, because you need tier plus L rune. Anything with an L rune in it, Barbarian and Paladin are just kind of annoying to run, because it's just, you have to do so many resets early on just for that. Teo's Germany. In the hardcore, I don't even have a hardcore run on it. Same thing. Once again, these characters, softcore, hardcore, the only difference between all of these characters in softcore and hardcore is that death strat at the end, right? If you're in the Bale throne room, with a softcore character, I can drag out the final couple waves and die. And then with a hardcore character, I drag the wave out, run around the like centerpiece, and then go back into the room. So it takes a little bit extra longer for a hardcore character. But it's not a big difference. And obviously a hardcore character can die and then the run's over. So you have to be a little bit, there's less runs that would finish, I would say. Necromancer, I was really stoked about this 156 run, and then Teo ran a 150, so that was pretty stupid. The problem with the Necromancer is, once again, you have the wand stuff, but a bigger thing is his damage is really garbage. And there's a lot of things like, do you find a head with plus to teeth? Do you find a head with plus to bone spear? Do you find a wand with plus to teeth? Do you find a wand with plus to bone spear? Do you roll a wand with plus to bone spear from your, when you do the cube recipe? And then additionally, you get all the way through that. You get to the Chaos Sanctuary, and if your Chaos Sanctuary is packed with minions and demons, the run's over. Like, that's it. That's kind of the garbage piece of him. And if you watch, I wonder if I uploaded it. If you watch one of my previous Necro attempts, it was a hardcore attempt, and I was on world record pace in the hardcore section. You can see hardcore. There's still not really a great time posted here. This one's actually a year ago. So someone's going to take that pretty soon. Hopefully me. I was on world record pace, got into the Chaos Sanctuary, flooded with demons, and I mean, it was just too much. He just doesn't quite have the control when he's still that low level. When you get a little bit higher level and you get Bone Prison and you start to just prison everything, which is what level 24 required, I think. You can prison everything, you're fine. Whenever you're in a bad situation, you just spam prison down on you. It just floods all around you, and you can't die, basically. But for normal, you don't have that luxury. Bone Wall doesn't quite work as well as you want, so you're just trying to spam out some golems in key places to keep them occupied and then kill them. So it's a tough one. This 150 is going to be a tough one to beat. Teo got +2 to teeth and 20 faster cast rate at the Inner Cloister, +2 to Bone Spear from the first weapon reroll. So that's how he got a 150 right there. Like that is the perfect, that is like exactly what you could want. These are notes that we leave sometimes with runs. It's kind of disgusting, honestly, to read. +2 to Bone Spear. Because, I mean, it's such an increase in damage. It just makes the run so good. All right, Druid. So I have the softcore Druid with the 128, which was pretty dang good. That was a great run. No faster run walk or anything like that. Let's see if I left any notes. Nope, I'm lame. No faster run walk there, but it was still a decent run. Anything under 130 on a Druid is like really, really solid. So I remember with the Druid and the Assassin, the thing is so much of it just comes down to like, how good are your maps? You don't even need crazy experience. You don't even need, except to get to level 12 is usually pretty good because that's when they get Fissure in their Fire Trap, Wake of Fire. So getting to level 12 experience is decent. But other than that, it's just like good maps, quick runes, and then just really quickly running through everything. It's kind of ridiculous how powerful and how easy almost these characters are. So you just have to be able to do that. And then you want to get a good bail for the Druid. Because, that's only 5 days ago. Wow. You want to get a good bail. And you can see that was 3 years. 3 years that record stood. That's crazy. So a good bail, because if he clones a lot and jumps a lot, it can definitely take some time off. So this is probably one of the longest records that was standing that got taken. That's crazy, actually. But in the hardcore world, Tail has a 126.30. That was a year ago. I don't even have a hardcore run because I don't really run hardcore Druid normal stuff. Once again, it's like, I don't know. The hardcore softcore stuff is what it is. But you can see nobody else is even under the 140 there. So it's and you can see there's only nobody else is under 140. That's actually crazy. I didn't realize that. So you can see why I say like a 120 time is kind of nuts, right? Because there's so many 142.26, 142.26. Wow. 142.56, 145, 146, 147, 147. Hardcore. 140, 140, 142, 143, 148. Like, actually kind of ridiculous how many people are in that 140 range. So to get to that like 120, you need a lot of luck. Thank you, Perwizy. But 2, you also need a lot of the small things. Being a tiny bit faster shopping, being a tiny bit more efficient in all of your little movements, reading your maps a little bit better, right? Knowing that different tile pieces. I think that's the biggest thing. I've talked about it before and I'll talk about it again. Knowing every tile piece that exists on a map and how they can form. So for instance, there is let me open up Paint. This is always a great example of a piece. But there's a lot of pieces I could draw. Let's window capture. Y'all know I love my Paint. Paint. Perfect. So there's a tile piece in the underground passage that looks like this, roughly. And it's got that, and then it's got that. Okay, and then it goes like this. Okay, so if I'm coming this way, and I turn up here, and I see basically like this look, right? If I get this look, I know I want to continue this way. Because if I continue this way, this map piece always, the entrance for this is always here, right? Let me do that in red. The entrance is always here, and the exit is always this way. And because in the underground passage, I'm, starting like down here. This is my tile piece that I start at. I always want to be going this way and exiting somewhere up here, right? Straight across. So it could be like right there or something. So the chances of this going over, down, because it has to exit this way, over, and then back up is a lot lower than the chance of me just coming all the way across and finding it right around here. So you'll see me in runs. If you watch me look for this tile piece, you'll see me go up here and then turn around and continue this way because I know this is exiting back this way. And sometimes it just dead ends as well. It doesn't have to exit. Sometimes it'll just dead end right there. And that's that. Right? Additionally, you have all of the pieces in your catacombs, right? There's so many in the catacombs. There's the one that looks like this. We'll say. And it has a door right here and a door right here. Always a dead end. So if you're running like this and you see like this door and this wall right here and kind of like that, you know it. And so you'll immediately take that turnaround as opposed to running all the way to here just to figure it out and run back. If you are in the catacombs and there's like, it's going to be hard to draw this piece. But, there's like this one as well or something kind of. This isn't exactly what it looks like. But there's like the door down here, and that also goes to like the dead end. There's the one where there's both the doors, but this room is a little bigger. And it has like the barrels and stuff in it. There's a boss group in here, usually hanging out right around here or something. But dead end, right? So it's all of knowing every map piece for every single map. You can add seconds onto your run. Seconds. And then eventually you add all those things together and that equals 10 minutes or whatever it is, right? That was the difference between the Sorceress being the 120 and the 112, right? The difference between the Druid being 140 and 128. All sorts of crazy things like that. So this 126 time that Teo has here, it's going to be a tough time to beat. In my opinion, probably going to need some fast runwalk boots. Let's see. Okay, he got a Blood Fist drop. That's really great. He found his Sorceress from a Fisto, so it had faster runwalk boots. Like this is the difference right here between my 128 and his 126.30. He found his Sorceress boots. Obviously, he had some good stuff as well, but his Sorceress boots were crazy. And that's kind of why the Druid and the Assassin are like annoying a little bit because it's like, oh man, just grind for that. Barbarian. Fun stuff with the Barbarian. Once again, the annoying stuff about the Barbarian. Number 1, he requires Tal Eth, Ith El Eth, probably at least one Rao rune, Tal, with potentially another Tal. All of those runes you want to get within like 15 minutes in the Countess. And so a lot of times you're going to be running through the Countess. And it's just like, reset. Run through the Countess. Reset. Don't get the Owl rune. Reset. So many runes for this. It's ridiculous. And so it just makes it kind of like stupid, right? The run's kind of dumb in that regard. But once you get all that, you can actually get out. But then you have to shop for flails. Finding 3 open socket flails. It once took me 12 minutes to find a 3 open socket flail. 12 minutes for shopping it. The run's dead, right? All that work just to go shop for it, and the run dies. I don't think any of mine or Teo's runs have had Crushing Blow on them yet. Teo once found Crush Flange, but he didn't find the runes he needed, tried to go forward, failed. Because the Crushing Blow is only good for Duriel, and Dariel, for the bosses. That's it. Anything other than a boss, Crushing Blow sucks. You have to have your dots because your Barbarian doesn't hit often enough. So it's just like brutal. So if you find faster runwalk boots, if you get all your runes, if you get Crushing Blow, this time can probably be sub 210. I don't know if it can go sub 2 hours. It looks like Teo got Twitch Throw on this run. That was his big helper. Hotspur's nice. A 2 to 9 damage jewel, actually really, really good. If you can get 20 to poison damage, 2 to 9 damage, plus to max damage, those are really, really helpful. Also, you need choking gas potions in Act 3. And then he spent 4 minutes trying to get an additional 3 socket flail, failed, and so he didn't even have three times Tau. He only ran 2 times Tau in it. So there's so many things in this run that you need. It's just annoying. And the hardcore barb is right around the same time, 218 and 217, and I've got the 221 there. And then I guess 227 is the next fastest time that someone else has. So, this run, Nightfall actually has the luckiest run I've ever seen. I want to show you guys. He should have had the world record. This right here was the run. Oh, is it not going to play? Okay. He had Hisaris boots, I think Blood Fist, Crushing Blow, and maybe like Twitch Throw. He literally had like 4, it was the craziest run I've ever seen. But it was his first barb run. So he ran 248 because it was his first barb run. Sucks. Assassin, this record held for 3 years until BDD came along with a 124.13. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So great time right there. Well done to BDD. Clap us in the chat for him. I still think there's something to be done, and I don't know if BDD uses it. I kind of want to look at the end here and see if he does a respec or not. It doesn't look like he does. No, he doesn't. So I think there's a better strategy still here, where you go back and respec right before bail. And I've tried respecing it to charge bolt traps, or like the charge bolt sentries, and it sometimes works, but if bail clones and the clone moves on top, then it screws you over. So I think the better thing is to actually just respec into like fire, wake of fire, and then max fire blast. Get all of your points out of bursts of speed. But then you're doing den earlier, but doing den earlier gets you an extra point in your fire traps, which just help you throughout the run. So I don't know. I think there's still something there to be played around with a little bit. But additionally, Teo has a 122.57, which is crazy. No faster unlock boots as well on it. That's actually kind of nuts. But that's a really good run. And then lastly is the Amazon, which Teo finally got sub 2 hours right there. And then he actually has a 156 over here as well. So I've got a 202 and a 2 hour on these. I mean, I think I can beat this. Let's see if he has any boots. Is there any good way to look? Inventory. Doesn't look like he has any boots there. Oh, he's got some boots right there. So it looks like he might have found faster run walk boots just at the end. Maybe. Something like that. But that's 2 years ago. And then 1 month ago, he actually ran that 156.35 because he wanted to steal away my hardcore record. Whenever I take one of his records, he just grinds it till he steals it back. I have the most second places, I think, of all people. Oh, second place. He's got that one. Second place. Second place. Silver! Woo! First loser. Yeah, so that's kind of a look at the normal stuff. You can see, you know, this one stuck around for a little bit, but at the same time in the hardcore space, 1 month ago for there. Assassin, like, honestly, all of these records, this Barbarian is probably the longest standing one still, 2 years ago on the Barb. 5 days, 6 months, 1 month, 6 months, 2 years, 17 days, 2 years, okay, for this, but in the hardcore space, 1 month there, 4 months, 4 months, 1 year on the Druid. That 126 is going to be crazy to beat. 1 year on the Necro, 1 year on that Paladin, and 1 month on that Source. Interesting. Additionally, we've also had these new categories of Players X and Players 8. They're not really competed in a ton, but they're very new, so people are just kind of trying them out. BDD seems like he's claiming a lot of records on it. So, here's a thing. Now, 8% hell runs. 8% hell. That was normal. Let's take a look at the hell runs. Once again, Teo with the stupidest gear I've ever seen. I want to do a gear check. Does he do a gear check at the end? Yeah. He has... Let's gear check. 1 to Sorceress skills, 20 FCR with res and life. So disgustingly good. So disgustingly good. Alright, get to the next one. Lore, so he found his soul rune, which is lucky. 1 to cold skills. Oh, how convenient. That's disgustingly good. His Ancient's Pledge. Those are really 60 res boots with half reach duration. Wow. I didn't realize he had those. And he had fast run-walk boots in there as well with worse ones. Fire res there. String of ears, because that's cool.
Could have been, maybe. I don't know.
That's cool. Let's see what this ring is. Faster cast rate, string of ears, faster cast rate. So he got both of those. And Blood Fist. Blood Fist, string of ears, plus to cold skills Amy, source skills, 20 FCR, ridiculous. These are how you run world record runs, man. This is the hell run crazy gearing that I was talking about. He had 63 FCR in Act 2 normal. I mean, come on. Come on, man. That's so crazy. I still think I can actually run a lot faster time than I have right here. This 433, I haven't run that many Hell Sorceresses lately. A 405 is going to be tough. I'll have to actually get some decent gear for that. But I think I can post up like a 410 to 415 pretty easily if I ran it for like a week. But I would need some gear to get, faster than that. Hardcore 426 Teo's got, which he also ran pretty quickly, pretty recently. Decent time for hardcore, you know, because hardcore runs are tough to finish, especially on a sword. She's very fragile, so just pop, dead. Paladin, 28 days ago, Teo ran a 546. Wow. I haven't run this in 2 years. Been a long time on that. And a 554 is over there on the hardcore side. So that's once again, I think Paladin is kind of a little. Paladin still has room. I think Paladin's going to 530, in my opinion. Soon. I think we're gonna run faster Paladins soon. It just feels like there's so much left there.
CC, the saltier place on the earth, next to that Teo Sorcerer run.
Yeah. Thanks. Paladin's very strong. But you can see both of these, 3 months ago, 28 days ago, Paladins are kind of being competed in decently now. Hell runs kind of started a little bit after. So we did normal runs. We competed in those for a while. Then we started some hell runs. And then hell hardcore runs kind of started with some competition. So I'd say you'll see in the hell hardcore side of things, and even the hell runs overall, there's less competition in general. One, they're a lot harder. But two, we haven't been competing in them quite as long. And because they're such long runs, even like the world record on this Necro is almost 7 hours long. Like, oh my gosh, so long. I haven't even done a hell Necro. Like, forget about it. So 647 over here and 641 over here. Pretty good times from Teo because 8 hours, 7.5 to 8 hours seem to be the like record there. So I'd actually be very curious to see how Teo runs the Hell Necro, to see what he's doing differently. My guess is a more liberal use of Corpse Explosion. I think the Hell Necromancer is very under appreciated. Maybe not now with Teo's running it, but I felt like for a long time we just didn't build it well enough, and we were too reliant on Bone Spear and maybe not reliant enough on just getting Corpse Explosion and blowing it up. Go hard Hell Necro right now. Ugh. Hell Druid 617. This is a record that I'm going at. Well, I'm going after the hardcore one, 637 right now. I think I can get this one. I've been on world record pace for the past couple of runs, and I didn't even have any decent gear at all. Like this last run, the one before I had decent gear, but I died. This last one, I was in the chaos, still on world record pace. So I think this run is definitely beatable. That 617 is definitely a better time. This is softcore. I think I can post up like a 6. I would imagine my hell hardcore time would be like a 620 something when I finish. We'll have to see what gear does and stuff. But you can see once again, months ago. So these ones are kind of recent competing. Hell Barb is interesting, actually. Hell Barb is actually interesting. This is the first Hell Barb run to exist. God, who wants to stream for that long on a single run? This is the first run, and this is where I actually discovered that you could do singing. Like, literally in the middle of the run, we were trying it out, and I was like, guys, should we try singing? Like, what do we want to do? And people were like, yeah, why not? Nothing else is working. And so I switched into becoming a Warcry Barb, and it worked. And so it was like, wow, okay. That was 2 years ago. And now it's down to 10 hours. Wait, no. Now it's down to 9 hours. Kind of crazy, actually, that the Barb has gotten so low there. But once again, people don't run the Barb often. But basically just small improvements. I think a lot of it is improvements earlier on. Improvements in like just you're like using a mercenary longer, giving him more gear, stuff like that. So it's very interesting, but it's just not a often run category because It's a 10-hour run, 9-hour run, you know, with a lot of RNG required still. You still have to get your early runes and stuff, so it's pretty brutal. Assassin, this is one that Teo and I went back and forth on for a little bit. He eventually posted a 5:31. You can see 2 months ago, 27 days ago, and a 5:29. So pretty good times on that. I think this one can be a little faster still, but you know, getting a little bit of good RNG, some fast Roanoke boots and stuff is very helpful. Players X category is when you can just change the amount of players whenever you want. You can set it to players 8 to get more experience, and then back to players 1 for a boss and stuff. So I think this one can be knocked down a little bit more again, but we'll just have to see on that one. And lastly, the Amazon. 6 seconds off. Poor BDD. Oh, man. Oh, I always laugh when I see that. You know how many times you can find 6 seconds I should have saved in a run? You know how many times you can find 6 seconds? Oh, I accidentally went to the wrong waypoint. Oops, I saved quit there. I got to come back in and run to the waypoint again. That's 7, 8 seconds. Oops, read the map wrong. That's 10 seconds. Brutal. So that's that, Amazon. And then recently, and you can see obviously like softcore Amazon hasn't been run as much as the hardcore Amazon there, the 625. So definitely, you know, you notice it sometimes where the hardcore run's like a lot more competitive than the softcore run. It just, you know, people don't always compete in every area all the time. Somebody eventually will come along here and post like a 615 or 620. Both of these have Titans, by the way. This one and this one. Both of Teo's runs have Titans. But, you know, somebody comes along and posts like a 620, and then Teo will come back or someone will come back and compete in it to get the next record. And it just keeps going back and forth. So, who knows? Teo says around 40-minute time loss in the run. Seems about right. So, yeah. So that's kind of a look through, and we can look and see which one is longest standing. Man, so many of these are days ago. 1 month, 5 months. Is that the longest standing? 5 months ago on that Druid, 2 months, 27 days, and 5 months on this Amazon. 2 days, 2 months, 2 months, 2 months, 1 month, 4 months, 23 days. A lot more competition lately in the hell runs here. I think it's because, once again, the hell runs also have a lot more room for improvement. As opposed to like the normal runs, 2 years. Like to compete and improve this time is tough. It's really hard. You want to be faster than this 126.30? Good luck. Faster run walk boots, blood fist, like amazing maps as well. Good luck. So the normal runs are really getting hard to compete with, whereas the hell runs, it feels like you can actually kind of just get better at the game and then have a better chance of competing. I think that's kind of the current thought. Right now, the normal runs are like you have to get really good at the game and then still run it 100 times at least to get like the run that has the right RNG. So it's kind of crazy. So yeah, if you look at Teo, dude has got a lot of first place medals, man. Dude has got a lot of first place medals. And they don't call me Mr. Silver for nothing. Woo! Killing it. Killing it. And there's some runs that I could go compete in to you know, grab an easy second place or something, right? Like the hardcore 80% normal Druid. I don't think I would even need a good run to get under a 140 for that. So Anyways, with that being said, everybody, that is kind of a look at Diablo 2 speedrun record boards. A little bit of the history, a little bit of where things are at right now, where they're probably going. I guess in the future, I expect the hell runs to start getting a lot more competitive. I expect those to start just going, and really getting down there to those like crazy times. But those runs also offer up the chance for a lot of really good gear. Oh, you got a Spectral Shard, a Viper Magi, and Train Gloves? Congratulations. Like, don't die and you get a record sort of stuff. There's all sorts of crazy things that can happen in it. But that is that. So, thank you guys for watching.